Hello everyone, welcome back to Aerospace and Mechanical Lab 1. Today we are going to talk about the fifth lab of the series, Lab 1 series, which is going to focus on aerodynamics and flight mechanics. Those of you who are mechanical engineering students need to focus more on the aerodynamics part of it and the analysis of how movement of air exerts any force on an object. And those of you who are in aerospace engineering program want to focus more on the flight simulator part of it and flight mechanics of it. The goal of the lab is pretty simple. We are going to learn how to fly an aircraft in a flight simulator. It's called X-Plane 12. That's the name of the flight simulator. You can definitely download it and install it on your own personal computers. And we have installed it on all of the lab computers in the basement. And so during the flight, you are going to log some flight data like the lift, drag, and all of the other aerodynamic forces, as well as the angle of attack. And when you have logged all the data that you need, you are going to go back to the flight simulator software. It has a CAD module called PlaneMaker. We're going to use that PlaneMaker to make a modification to one of the aircrafts we already have, and just modification can be changing the length of the wing. These sort of modifications, we have examples of these modifications in the lab memo and also the lectures. You don't really need to choose one of the modifications we have proposed. You can have your own modifications, but you have to have a logic for your modification. And then we're going to come back to the main flight simulator program, fly again, record the flight data again, and there we are going to compare how much of a difference changing the modifications you have made is going to make to the actual flight performance, actual aerodynamic forces that are present here. Before starting the flight, we need to talk about the flight control systems we have. If you have watched the lecture recording and if you have gone through the lecture notes, you already know what each of these controls are. This is called the yoke. Using the yoke, we do control the roll of the aircraft, so turning while you're already flying. And we can also control the pitch of the aircraft, going up and going down of the aircraft. So this will go up, this will go down. You want to make sure you don't actually pull too hard on these or push too hard on these, because it will break the system. Just a simple pull and push will do the job. And this is the yoke, as I said. And then we have the engine or power control system. The aircraft we're going to use is a Cessna 172, and it doesn't have the blue lever, right? But the other two levers are the throttle control and the mixture control, which essentially is going to control how rich or lean the fuel that you're providing to your engine is, and how open or closed is the throttle, right? When you go full in, you're providing the maximum power, and for no power, you want to make sure these turn back to zero. The first thing you want to do, of course, is to make sure that these are calibrated well, and we are going to do that in a second. The next primary flight control we have are these pedals, the rudder controls. Essentially, they do a slide. If you use the left slider, it will turn left. If you use the right slider, it will turn right. And if you press the top of it, that will activate or deactivate the brakes, like you would do in a car. Just press the top of it, right? So because these are the only primary flight controls we need to worry about. The next step would be to start the software and run the simulation. The software of interest for us is called X-Plane. It's right here. And the CAD software we're going to use later to modify the aircraft is called PlaneMaker. It is also right here. Most of these should be on your desktop, but if not, you can just go to the Windows search and look for them. And the address is in C drive, which is where our aircraft repository is also located. C drive X-Plane 12. So let's open X-Plane. Sometimes it takes a little bit, and we already have the license number here, right here. You can just click unlock full version, and you want to ignore the updates, because the updates do take a long time. Right? First thing you want to do is to go to settings, and you want to make sure your joystick is calibrated. This is where the joystick, you want to just play with it. You can see right here it is calibrated, so it is working fine. And the next thing we want to calibrate is the rudder pedals right here. They do work fine as well. And the last thing is the mixture control right here. Next thing you want to calibrate is the throttle control, the mixture control, and the prop control. Again, go 0 to 100, 0 to 100, same here in the prop. This axis usually needs to be reversed. The reverse axis is checked. So we are there as far as the calibration goes. Next step would be to, I guess, go back to settings and check the data outputs. We can output a lot of data here. What we are interested in is the lift specifically. You can just search for lift. This should already be selected. As you can see, we are recording the lift over drag coefficient, which is lift over drag, which is what we need, and also lift and drag themselves. The next one is the angle of attack. You want to make sure that is also being recorded. Yes, all of these are written to a disk, right? And the disk rate right now is set at 10 Hertz. That's 0.1 writes per second. We want to do 1 write per second. We don't need to stay at 0.1 write per second. And then you want to click done. Next step is to start a flight. I'm going to choose a Cessna Skyhawk. You can choose the CAE airport we have here, or we can also choose the Owens airport. That doesn't really matter which airport you use. Your lab memos ask you to choose the CAE airport in Colombia. Again, as far as we are concerned, that doesn't really matter, but you need to remain consistent in using your airports. You just have to give it a little bit of time for us to load the scenery and the scenario, and we'll be ready to fly. Okay, so right now in this monitor, I only see the cockpit, all of the controls. I can actually move them with my mouse as well. I can also control them with the controls we have. Right now, we are providing full power. I just turned off the engine by mistake, but we can easily turn it on. It is turned on. We are at full power, but the aircraft doesn't move because the brakes are engaged. So we either need to use the rudder controls to fly the aircraft, or we need to press B on the keyboard to release the brakes. When you release the brake, you want to keep in mind that the rudders for this specific device, the rudders are usually uncalibrated, and this is a software bug based on what we hear from the company. So you need to play with the rudders a little bit to make sure that you remain on the tarmac. Okay, so you want to make sure you don't really provide the full power at the beginning, just a little bit so we can start moving. Again, brakes are engaged right now. And I release the brakes, so we are ready to increase the power. You want to make sure you actually play with the rudder so you stay on the runway as much as possible, right? And as you are stable, you stabilize your aircraft, you can increase the provided power. Yeah. Okay, we are getting to the end of the runway. I think we are ready to fly now. Yes, we are already airborne, which is always a good thing. You want to make sure you actually maintain your altitude as much as possible and your pitch, and then you are going to give the aircraft, you are going to change the angle of attack by scenarios, pitch up, pitch down scenarios, so you have enough data for your aircraft. And I want you to make sure you reach the stall condition. So I want you to break this flight, so you can give me a lift coefficient versus angle of attack, a comprehensive lift coefficient versus angle of attack. How do we go to the stall condition? By a sudden sharp, see, I've already started the aircraft and we are going to die, but this is the purpose. This is by design. So we have recorded all of the data we need. We can just close the program right now, go to File and hit Quit. Close the program and look at your data. In the C drive, explain 12 folder, it should be a text file called data. I'm going to copy this, and this is something you definitely need to do, and paste it in desktop. Just paste it right here. I'm going to change the naming of this to one.txt. This is essentially our unmodified data. And when you open this, you see it gives you a lot of information. It gives you the angle of attack. It gives you the lift to drag ratio, lift coefficient, drag coefficient, essentially whatever you need to have. Right? You can open this in Excel and it will give you a good table. We have a lot of data because we have recorded a lot of information. You want to rearrange this for angle of attack. So angle of attack goes from very small angles to very big angles, and then you want to do a data reduction on this. So we have what we need. The next step would be to modify the aircraft. To modify the aircraft, there is an aircraft folder in the main explain database. You want to go there, and there is a folder called laminar research. You want to open there as well, and you have a lot of your aircrafts right here. Again, we are interested in Cessna 172. So what we're going to do is we are going to copy this and paste it in the same folder. I'm going to change the name to your lab name. So I'm going to call this Cessna, let's say section 001 and group A, team 1, for example. I already have this. And then I'm going to go to plane maker. When you open the plane maker, something will like this open up. The only thing you really need to do is to go to files right here, open. It is in the main Cessna folder. We don't want that. We want to go to the folder that we have just created. That was Cessna, that was called Cessna 001A1. And then over there, we want to open the Cessna 172 SP.AESP file. Okay, it is against the same aircraft. We want to make some changes to it, right? There are a couple of options. It gives you a standard option. It gives you an expert option. It gives you the backgrounds, essentially how to make changes, how to move the CAD design that you have right here, and so on and so forth. We are going to stick to the standard options. I'm going to go to wings specifically. When you go to wings, you are given a lot of different options, like the semi-length of the wing, for example, the root chord of the wing, the tip chord, the sweep, dihedral angle. Do we need to know what all of these are? Not really. You do not need to know what all of these are, but you do need to change things about it. Like we have essentially have a couple of different wings. We have wing 1, wing 2, wing 3, wing 4, the horizontal stabilizer, vertical stabilizers, and the wing flex. The things that we want to change are going to focus on wing 1 and wing 3 specifically, or all 4 wings. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase the semi-length here. To 8 feet instead of 7 feet, right? I'm going to do the same thing for the wing 3, and I'm also going to change things for wing 4, wing 1 and wing 2 and wing 3 should suffice. Okay, wing 4 is not activated. Okay, so we can just save this, and we have made our changes, the changes we wanted to make. I'm going to close the program. We have our modified aircraft now, right? What we can do is we can go here and change the name of the aircraft, or we can just keep it the same name and go back to the plane, to the X-plane software. Everything else is going to be exactly the same, so I'm not going to fly the aircraft again. I'm just going to show you where you can choose your Cessna. You see, we have 2 Cessna Skyhawks now. The first one, it gives you, if you hold your mouse on it, it will give you where this aircraft is located. And right now, when I'm holding it, my mouse on the aircraft, it tells me that it is in the Cessna 001A1 folder, which is our folder of interest. So this Cessna, not the second one, is our modified aircraft. I'm going to use the same airport, and I'm going to start flight. When you start flight, you will have another log file. Let me actually start this. You will have another log file. And that other log file, we're going to name it 2. And your job would be essentially to draw these graphs, use this log file to compare the aircraft performance. Okay, right now I'm going to show you one more thing. If you do not want to fly your aircraft yourself for whatever reason, you can go to flight option right here, and there is an AI flies your aircraft. You can actually click that. It will go back and reinitialize the flight. It's already flying, and it is going to record the data you need to record. This right here, there's a message that says this data is saving to record. The problem with this type of flight would be the lack of different angles of attack, but you can actually stop the AI mid-flight, and you can take control yourself. So right now it is not AI anymore. See, I am going to get the data I need. I'm going to install the aircraft, and it is already installed. There we go. We have all of the data we need. You can just quit the program, and you have what you need. Simple. Again, we already have one.txt right here. I'm going to go back to explain. There is another data file. I'm going to copy this, bring it back to desktop, and I'm going to call this 2.txt. So this is the modified aircraft, this is the unmodified aircraft, and we have what we need. When you have copied this, I want to ask you to please delete whatever you have, and also go back to your aircraft and delete your modified aircraft. So delete that whole folder, the Cessna 001A1. You want to keep in mind that you only need to delete your own folder. Do not change the database. And that will be it for today's lab. Your next step would be to do the analysis and submit the worksheet. Please let us know if you have any questions or concerns, and thank you for watching.